was like something like 3 months or something like that was like what it took for me to write like another 100 pages. So I'm like, okay, so if I can stay at that pace, theoretically should be able to have this thing done by the end of the year, I think.
Hell yeah.
Um,
Oh,
so yeah,
only
that's the goal.
the only you'll be the first because I have another book from a classmate we had back in school, Elizabeth Tammy. I haven't read her book. Uh, I feel like your book will be the first one I read out of the people that I went to school with. Because there's
Nice.
another she got another one in. Oh, it's something about the winds of it's Norse. No, it's not Norse. It's Greek mythology. Her book is about. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I think
Nice.
Josh has a book out too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
man, y'all pumping out these books.
Okay, so we're live, by the way.
All right.
Yeah, we live.
Jesus Christ.
God,
once
tense.
once I move in, man, I want to start writing again. I'm aching to kind of get back to it.
Yeah,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Where are your descriptions?
As ironic as it is, like for me, I don't know. Like I saw as ironic how the only moment I've enjoyed writing was when I was making like Spanish stories. I don't. It was so much fun, and like it was a very very what do you call it? Psychological like approach to writing. It was pretty cool.
Nice,
That's
man.
the only experience I've had with it.
Um,
Mm,
okay, I'm gonna tweet this out and then we can get started.
Yes, sir.
all right, I'm gonna cut down director's cut. Just put DC since I need to fit a couple more stuff in the title here.
Okay. You can
Yeah.
just leave out the DC, just Ghost of Tsushima is fine.
All right.
Hmm.
Or
Take
even
that out.
take out Bluepoint and see if director's cut can fit on top of the things that you're adding.
All
Or
right,
it's
try it out.
yeah.
It should work though.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good. All right, cool.
All right. All right.
Okay,
I just
shareable
sent the
link.
tweet out.
All right, same. All right, I'm good. Let me check on the audio real quick, and then we can get started.
Cool. Well, you gotta say something, man.
Hey yo, how we doing? How we doing here? We doing in the streets of Returnal. We dying a lot. How we doing?
Oh man. Sorry to
Yeah,
hear that, man.
it's a very bad combination of me going back and forth between Returnal and Demon Souls. It's like I'm having fun, but it's not. I'm not relaxed
Man,
in
you're
neither
doing this.
front.
You're doing the same thing that you told me to not do.
Yeah, that's it exactly. I was like, Macho, don't do this because you'll get a sour experience. Because I know how you are like around like super tough games. In my mind, I'm like, I won't do that.
Yeah, I like my
I'm
one
doing that.
relaxing and then the one gaming experience is gonna kick my ass.
Yeah, no. I was like, Demon Souls, Ratchet and Clank. Now I'm like, Returnal Demon Souls, and then Returnal Ratchet and Clank. Like I need more Ratchet and Clank to relax. It's
Oh
pretty
man.
intense,
All right,
but I'm
we're
having a
good on
blast.
audio, by the way. We're all set.
Okay.
All right,
Cool,
sweet.
cool, cool. All right. Guys, welcome back to the 19th episode of the DualShock Sense Podcast. I am your host, Soul, the connoisseur of anime waifus. With me, as always, I got Macho. How you doing, man?
How's it going, everybody? It's the King of Kingdom Hearts and the Final Fantasy fanatic here, and I'm scared. I'm a little scared. I'm
Oh
not gonna
man,
lie.
what's going on,
Yeah,
man?
I'm a little
Whoa.
fearful. There's there's something that's like it's. I'm wondering how you guys feel about it, to be honest. Um, Because the things I don't know if you guys have heard that the critically acclaimed
Oh
MMORPG Final
man.
Fantasy 14 with an expanded free trial is now available to download on PS4, PC. I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. But yeah, I'm enjoying my time, man. How's it going, everybody?
Man,
Miss being on the podcast.
I'm just like not even gonna talk to you anymore, man. Like every time I try to offer the olive branch or whatever, I extend my hand out. I always get returned with this bullshit.
Hey man, that's why you're the host.
Oh, Walt, how you doing, man?
How we doing, y'all? I'm stressed because I chose to play Demon Souls and Returnal back and forth. It's not relaxing. I'm having fun, but oh my god, it is stressful. But oh, why is it so much? Am I a masochist? Is this just I've been conditioned by FromSoft to just enjoy hard games? I don't know. I
Yeah,
love it, but
man.
yeah, we got
The way you've been talking
what?
about Lady Dimitrescu, yeah, I think you are a masochist, man.
Hey man, I
A
mean,
little bit, a little bit.
it sometimes pain fuels the soul. You know what I mean? But hey, it's been an interesting week. We started off Monday pretty vanilla, but then Tuesday was like, whoa, wait a second, give me a moment to breathe. But yeah, we'll get into it. This podcast, a lot of PlayStation talk. Surprisingly, it's not like we're a PlayStation podcast or anything.
Yes, sir. A lot to talk about, man. Before we get started, man, I want to remind you guys I actually dropped a little video on the channel discussing sort of my first reactions to the Housemarque acquisition. Don't forget to check that out. Leave us a like and subscribe to the channel, man. We would greatly appreciate that. So yeah, just as always, we're gonna start off talking about the games that we've been playing this past week, and I think I'm going to, because I feel like usually I kind of leave it to you guys to kind of take the reins and go first, but I think I'm gonna hop in here first because I got a little. I don't want to say slander, but I got something to say
Oh,
about a little game, which might be a hot take. I feel like. Um, so I played obviously Chivalry 2. I played more of that this weekend, hopping in every once in a while to get a few matches done here and there. Great time. I'm still really, really just having a blast with that game. It's really fun. Um, Resident Evil 3. I think I told you guys last podcast that like when we were recording the podcast that it like just arrived at my door or something along those lines.
Yep.
Finished it in I think 9 or 10 hours. Really, really fun. I actually really liked it, man. As someone who doesn't, typically, like horror games, like there's obviously exceptions, like Last of Us, like that's like a game that I need to play, so I'll just kind of like, I'll kind of suck it up and just, I'll stand the horror. Same thing with like Bloodborne or Demon Souls or Dark Souls, even Returnal to a certain extent. Like those are just games that like, I just kind of like I have to push through. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of horror, but yeah, this game was like really, really fun to get through. Um, so yeah, really, really enjoyed that. I actually just got Resident Evil 2 as well, so I'm gonna go through that.
hey.
Nice.
Yeah, which is
Eventually, we'll get to Lady D.
maybe. Which is funny, man, because this is like for me, I feel like Resident Evil is just one of those everyone has that sort of franchise that is just like one of those things that you just need to play in your sort of like gaming history, or it's like a franchise that's like a hole in your gaming history, right? Like a franchise that you've never gotten to, that you feel like is one of those franchises that you should absolutely play as a gamer, and Resident Evil is that thing for me because I've only played 4 and 5, but that's like when those games came out, right? When 4 was out on the Wii and when 5 was out on the 360, like those were the last times I played Resident Evil. So this was like, I don't know, it was a really good experience to like come into these like fairly fresh and yeah, it was a blast. Um,
But yeah.
Now, Max, real quick, are you thinking about jumping into Resident Evil remake that's actually on the PSN? There's like the GameCube remake.
yeah, maybe. Is it
Nice.
the sort of like tank controls or what?
You can
It
change
is.
it.
It's classic like Resident Evil, but just obviously it was a GameCube remake. But
Hmm.
that see, I wasn't the biggest fan of like the tank controls from like the PS1 games. I didn't even like two at first until like I replayed it. I started understanding like how like the game works. But then I played Resident Evil Remake on PS4, and I was just like, this is probably one of the best Resident Evil games I've ever played. Like it's really good.
Okay.
So
So
if you like Resident Evil 2, just know that if you go play Resident Evil 1 Remake, you're gonna be like, all right, it's a little more classic, but I'm telling you, man, it's still a lot of fun.
Yeah,
okay. So I mean,
I agree.
based off of that alone, then yeah, I think I'll jump in. Yeah. So yeah, Resident Evil 3. Had a lot of fun with it. Um. Okay. Let's get into it. The game that I got a little bit of smoke for.
Hmm.
Can you guys guess what it is?
Not at all. I don't know.
Honestly, no.
No. It's a little game called Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Oh,
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Hold up.
So
Wait, that's legit like unexpected. What is this, Game of Thrones? What happened?
all right, so let me come out and say like it's a great game. Like I had a lot of fun with it. Obviously like
Hmm.
visually it's probably like oh actually really quick back to Resident Evil. Let me just say the RE engine is fucking incredible, man. Like I think it's second
Yes.
to none to only like Naughty Dog in terms of just like how these
Mm.
games look. Like Resident Evil is absolutely incredible. And same thing with DMC. I guess this is just sort of like the RE engine in general, but good lord, these games are in terms of like visual fidelity, these games are absolutely stunning. That's just like
dude,
one
just
of
wait till you play Resident Evil 2.
because like
Yeah.
like just walking the kind of like neon lit streets of Raccoon City was like it's pretty incredible, man. And just the characters' faces, like yeah, it's really really good. Back to Ratchet. Yeah, it's sort of like similarly. The game looks incredible. The sort of classic Ratchet gunplay is probably the best that it's ever been. I don't even know how I how I begin this. I just like I guess my biggest problem is well okay here's a side thing is that like I feel like the whole uh alternate dimensions and going to different dimensions and just that whole premise there I feel like they only really scratched the surface with it, like they didn't take it all the way that they could have. I guess my biggest or just like a little nitpick that I have with it is that like in terms of like the characters you meet, like I feel like they should be like opposites of each other, and we didn't really like delve into that as deep as we could have. Like meeting the alternate version of Quark should have been like okay, let's actually get into that. Or Skid McMarks, like let's actually like explore that a little bit. And even like Rivet, if Rivet's supposed to be the opposite version of Ratchet, then like they're like both basically the same, right? Like they're both like good-hearted and want to help people sort of. And like even Kit and Clank, right? Like obviously they're two different characters, but like they still kind of felt the same, right? So like just the whole premise of this being like an alternate dimension, I felt like it was almost like squandered potential because we really didn't do anything too interesting with that. Like, what if like I guess what I'm asking is like I guess I wanted Rivet to be like a stark contrast to what Ratchet was, because what it felt like was just like two characters who are virtually the same. So that's kind of like like Macho. Is that something that you kind of felt as well, or were you like completely okay with the characters?
Well, what I took away from it was that Rivet was what Ratchet used to be. Because Ratchet, to me, than this one, was a lot more tamed. He was a lot more mature, really. And I
Hmm.
feel like Rivet was just kind of like what he. It was what Ratchet used to be, so I kind of that reminded him of what he used to be, and then Rivet's just kind of doing her own thing. So that's kind of what I took for it. I never really went too deep into it, just because I was way more entranced by like just the fact that like its story pacing was just really fun to be engaged with. But as far as the characters, I can see what your complaint is on that. And I more or less I agree with it.
Cool. All right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can definitely see that for sure. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. So yeah, I mean, I guess so. There's that, and like I said, that's not my biggest issue. Like that's it's fine. I guess my biggest thing is that like after 14 years, I think it's 14 years, but roughly 14 years of Ratchet and Clank games, or actually, I guess I should say 14 games. I think it's been 14 games, not years. But yeah, after 14 Ratchet games, I guess my biggest thing is that like there comes a point where you need to like sort of put a series on ice. Like you need to let it rest, man, because like I wasn't expecting this to be, you know, the God of War 2018 version of Ratchet, but I guess like for me, after playing so many of these games, it just kind of feels like okay, like I've been there, done that, or I've seen. It just feels like what else can Insomniac possibly do to make Ratchet fresh and interesting? And I guess my thing is that like I think they should have made Rivet the only playable character to like because in terms of like Ratchet and Clank themselves, we've explored those two characters like extensively, right? And I'm not sure there's really anything else that those two can offer. So I guess my biggest thing is that like if they are going to continue the series, that it should just be Rivet and Kit exclusively, so we can like actually like so it can actually offer something a little bit different, so we can actually like so it could actually feel like a fresh and newer experience, right? And I feel like with Rift Apart we were only sort of like dipping our toes into that, but you know, by keeping Ratchet and Clank around, it really just felt like okay, like we've like what else can we possibly say with these characters? Because like I feel like we've said all that we've needed to say with these characters. It's almost like Assassin's Creed, man. Like I feel like there's a point like after you keep pumping these games out, it just sorts to not repetitive, but it just kind of feels like we've been there, we've done that, you know. Um,
Yeah, that's exactly my feelings when it comes to the Kingdom Hearts games, where we have the same cast of main characters, and the director was saying, yeah, Sora is always going to be the main protagonist in Kingdom Hearts. And to me, I love Sora. So I'm like, okay, cool. But then at the same time, when it came to Kingdom Hearts 3, I'm just like, I'm okay if like this is like the stop for these characters and their journey and we start something completely fresh and new with 4. But that's not the case.
yeah, yeah.
So I completely understand where you're coming from with that. Even though if I like Ratchet and Clank, I think they're like timeless characters. I completely see where you're coming from on that.
Yeah, and it's like that universe allows for essentially like endless stories to happen. I mean, you know, the Mentionator alone allows for them to continue. But yeah, man, I mean, I guess that's just my major thing is that like yeah, like I feel like we've after 14 games, like I feel like it's time to to put them to rest, man, I guess. Um so yeah, I mean, not even like it's not even that I have like major smoke for like the game itself, but yeah, that's just kind of the thing that like I kind of kept thinking to myself as I kept going. Like I guess like I just wanted more like to get deeper into Rivet's character because I felt like we only really got to scratch the surface with her. But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of my thoughts on Rift Apart. Besides that, man, it's a great game, and probably the de
Yeah,
facto reason to own a PS5.
yeah. It is my first like official Ratchet and Clank experience, so I don't feel as strongly about that like about Ratchet and whatnot, but I'm having a blast. You know, I'm enjoying every character because it is pretty much my first time meeting them.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Yeah,
I,
I
but
love Kit so much. I love Kit.
oh, I love her. I love her. And
Yeah.
honestly, if I wouldn't mind if this is the end of the series, even though it is my first like official entry to the game, to the franchise. I don't want like a continuation or anything. Like I'm good with this game. I don't know. It's not. I don't want more. If that makes sense. If I get more, I'll play it. But I don't. I'm not like asking for it. You know. It's not like like with Bloodborne. Like I would like a Bloodborne 2, but not a Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart 2 or whatever.
Gotcha,
But yeah, I
gotcha.
agree. It doesn't feel. It feels like they focused more on certain ideas and not others. It does feel like there was a preference when making this game of what to focus on in terms of its development. Um, Not that I've played the other Ratchet and Clanks, but it did feel like the dimension traversal and all that was just scratched on, not the whole thing.
I'm with Jay's thought on making the next game just Rivet and Kit.
Honestly,
Cause
yeah,
yeah,
they were my favorite part of the whole game. Like I love Ratchet and Clank, but there's something about Rivet and Kid that was so refreshing in terms of a protagonist and the, like synergy. Uh, I don't know. I love it. I love it. I wouldn't mind more Kid and Rivet, honestly.
Yeah, that's my thing. That I feel like it would add a nice little bit of like almost like a palate cleanser for the franchise itself.
Absolutely.
And I mean, they've tried to do different things with Ratchet in the past with All for One and Full Frontal Assault and even Deadlock to a certain extent. But like those first two games that I listed, those are widely considered the worst games in the series. So like they've to their credit, they've tried taking Ratchet into different places in terms of like gameplay.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah,
be
people feel differently.
if they do continue the franchise, I'm gonna be really interested to see like what exactly they do next. Because if it's just like another like look, the next game undoubtedly will be good, but if it's another just straight up classic Ratchet and Clank game like Rift Apart, then like I obviously I'll play it, but I'm again I just have to wonder like man like just kind of same thing again. But
one thing is that it's one of the things, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Because
Hmm.
it's one of the things where, like, I mean, I'll talk about it more when I talk about Assassin's Creed Syndicate, but it's the same Assassin's Creed Syndicate where it's like, man, it's more the same thing again. It's the same thing, and then they went into open world RPG, and like that turns off so many people.
yeah.
It really did. Hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, then again, look at something like God of War, right? Like they had
True, true.
entries after entries, I think 7 games, and then they come out with 2018, and they to basically break everything down and build it back up into a really interesting way that sort of revolutionized that franchise. Even the new Hitman reboots, right, kind of managed to do the same thing. So like it's definitely possible, but then you have examples of like Assassin's Creed where they kind of take it into an unrecognizable direction that kind of pisses off the hardcore fans. And yeah, I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that Ratchet needs to. Well, maybe I am saying that Ratchet needs to do something like that, but
Risky.
I don't know, man. Like they definitely tried. I mean, they introduced more like open-ended areas, and the
Hmm.
rift stuff was cool.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I really I
Because
really don't know.
I feel like we're getting to the point where Ratchet and Clank would have been considered Rift Apart would have been considered risky 10 years ago or 15 years ago because of a female protagonist. But now it's the point where that's a common occurrence, which is good. It should be a completely normal thing to do. So if they do something risky, it should be more about the gameplay and the narrative more than it is about like certain like criteria to meet for like modern games. Which I think Assassin's Creed it is a I do think AC is a perfect example of a game dipping its toes into completely like murky waters that they have no idea how that's gonna pan out. And then you have BS like with Odyssey where they have the mentality of, protagonist and trash ass approaches with the whole women thing. And then you go to Valhalla and you see how Valhalla, I think it's like one of the best selling like Assassin's Creed ever. Uh, I don't know. It's odd because we see it more as like being and more involved in the gaming, like like news cycle and journalism and just overall like the niche part of the gaming industry, quote unquote. Because if you go to GameStop or you go to Best Buy and you talk to just day-to-day consumer, and you talk to him about like, oh, do you like Assassin's Creed? And they're gonna be like, yeah. Oh, do you prefer Valhalla or 2? It's like, oh, I like both of them. Like they probably won't have strong feelings. Like it's more of a like I feel like more niche thing to like hear people complain about these changes, which I don't understand why certain companies don't take more risk. Like I feel like yeah, now that you mention it, Ratchet and Clank should have taken a bit more of a bigger risk with that, but it's still a fantastic game. It's gotten praise all over. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see what the next big leap of the next big game is, like with Resident Evil and first person.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of Assassin's Creed, Macho, you wanna take it away?
Yeah, Macho.
Yes, sir. Assassin's Creed Syndicate is done and finito, and might I say, Jay, you gotta play this game, man.
Wait,
It's good.
Assassin's Creed
Yes,
Syndicate?
sir.
Assassin's
Yes,
Creed
sir.
Syndicate. Why? What'd I say? Did I say something different? No, don't do that.
Nah.
Don't do that.
Nah.
Do not
Yeah,
do that.
we farting on that one, man.
No, that is a hot take, sir. Syndicate
This
is
ain't Unity.
fantastic, bro.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It is a great game. It is a great Assassin's Creed game. It's so the whole thing with Assassin's Creed Syndicate is that it feels a lot like Brotherhood to me, which is really was at my top rankings for Assassin's Creed games, and it was just fantastic. I love the fire. I keep saying Friar in my head. It's like the Fire Twins. I love the Fire Twins. They're awesome, and I think they're such a likable set of protagonists that I was invested in what they're doing. The entire game was fantastic. The only thing that I had really major complaints about was like the last sequence kind of really wasn't that impactful. I feel like it was kind of just thrown together. It didn't really feel like it was like an epic set of of a climax. But other than that, man, the entire game itself is just super fun to play. The grappling hook is actually super useful and fun. The way you kill people too in the game, it's a lot like Unity, which yeah, because you kind of see like the same animations and everything. But I feel like the combat is just a lot better. Walt, would you actually agree with me on that? That's like the combat's just way better in Syndicate than Unity.
Honestly, I think by design is better because you have two very different approaches at combat with Evie and Jacob. So you not only have a better combat, because it is refined, mind you, but you also have variety in terms of how you can play with both assassins. And also, gotta be honest, for me, if
Wait,
if
but
the
you're
set-
but
if,
you're
like,
you're whacking people around with a stick, man.
No. It's not.
No,
It's a cane, okay?
There's actually there's three different weapon types. There's the short dagger that you have, or the kukri I think it's called. You have the fisticuffs, and then you have the cane, the sword cane.
Yeah, I do agree. It is a much more refined combat, and granted, it does fit with the setting. You know, very bare knuckles. You know, fisticuffs. Very Peaky Blinders kind of thing. With
Oh
Evie,
no,
you have the more...
we're not comparing the Rooks, the goddamn Rooks that you don't know anything about any of their members. It's only Jacob and Evie. You don't like it doesn't even fit. I haven't played this game, but I know a lot about it. Like you don't even get to like know any of the people within your gang, man. Like how does that feel like?
But why does that even matter? We didn't even get to know any of the assassins, basically in Brotherhood or Revelations.
Yeah.
Nah,
yeah,
that's
Jay.
not true. That's not true. You get to go on missions
Jay.
with those assassins. You get to take them out.
Oh, bro,
You don't.
Yeah,
don't
you do.
bond with
Yes,
those
you do.
guys.
Jay.
Don't stop.
Come on,
Golly.
Jay.
Don't stop. Don't. You better stop, man.
You tell me a little bio on where they ate their first peanut butter and jelly sandwich is enough character momentum to carry.
No. We're not
Come
gonna do
on,
this.
man.
We're not gonna do this. You get to take out those assassins on missions. You get to accompany them on assassination missions. Specifically against it tied in with the multiplayer characters that you would have to like hunt them out. Like Revelations specifically, I remember you would go out with like this was just like one example. Like this one, it was like one of the multiplayer characters did something to your master assassin, and he wanted to get revenge on him. So you accompany him while he goes out on like his sort of first big assassination. So like all I'm saying is that Syndicate, like if we are in a gang, why don't I know anyone within this gang, man? And why are they all the same ball head NPCs, just like the enemy gang that you're fighting? That's my
Well,
big.
because
There was
again,
no.
Go ahead, go ahead.
that ties into the fact that this was an annual series.
That they're all bald
You know,
head brutes.
yeah, the same carrying assets, and that was like my other point with Assassin's Creed Syndicate 2 is that while it is a lot of fun, I wish Ubisoft took more time and put more love and care into its systems because, yeah, there are little blemishes like that where like your association with your gang, the Rooks, is not very deep or meaningful. But the thing is, what makes up for that is the gameplay, is the fact that the game is a lot of fun, and that the side characters, while the missions aren't very like memorable, more or less, but the things you do with those characters and the stories that you're following them with are, and they're actually a lot of fun. And that's where the redeeming quality was for me, where the other end of the stick was you're kind of bringing up this gang, but you don't really feel like any sort of meaningful connection to them. There's not like the intrinsic connection when you're bringing up the Brotherhood in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood or in Revelations or anything like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So while I will give you that, but I will not take slander for Assassin's Creed Syndicate. It is a very good game. It's very good, man. It's a lot of fun. It was so good that I was even like I was thinking about even buying it on PlayStation just to get the trophies and the platinum, but unfortunately it's not upgraded to frame rate boost, and at that point like you might as well not even bother because the games are meant to be played on 60.
All right. Hey man, all I'm saying is that Ubisoft likes to they put a lot of these they put Jacob and Evie on the front cover, and then behind them was like all these interesting looking gang members that you don't even get to meet in the main game. You don't even get to know in the main game. All I'm saying, man.
I don't know what was really the sense of that, to be honest. I don't even like the cover of that game.
I don't like a lot of the covers in ASC, man. So.
Yeah, I know it's the same thing, but the thing is, like, again, it makes up for it with Charles Darwin, Charles Dickinson, Karl Marx, like all these other side characters and historical influences that you've maybe heard about in like history class or read about, and you get to see them in here, and they're actually really good. They're actually fun to be around. So,
And you know
yeah,
what's the best part of this game?
one.
It's not Unity. That's like the best part of this game.
That too.
Hey,
Yeah,
man,
you're garbage.
I'm not accepting any slander for Unity. Well, okay,
Unity is garbage,
I'll
man.
accept a lot of slander for Unity, but there's no way. But come on, Unity is in comparison to Syndicate, man. Come on, man.
Dude, no, Jay, don't do this, man. Don't
Nah.
do this,
Bro,
man.
Syndicate,
Nah.
looks so boring, man.
No,
Bro.
I just played both games. I'm telling you right now, man. Syndicate leaps and bounds better than Unity.
Oh man,
Leaps and bounds. Come from characters to even the combat, the mission structures, taking over different districts in London, like it's there. And it makes me really it makes me really sad that the next game that I have to play is not like is not a Syndicate like an evolution of Syndicate and a more refined version of that same stealth action adventure gameplay. No, I'm going straight into open world RPG jank. And I'm sad about that. And I liked Origins.
Not even the best one.
Yeah, and I liked Origins, and I'm a little low key not looking forward to playing because it's not going to be a ramped up version of Syndicate.
All right,
I'm bittersweet, man. I'm bittersweet on that.
You got it.
But yeah, play Syndicate. It's really good.
I'm all right, man. You heard that? You heard that fart sound earlier, man? Yeah, I'm all right.
You're really missing out, bro. You're really missing out. It's a good game.
All right, man. If if I ever see it on sale for like $2, then maybe. But hey, man, the
Well,
way
wait,
Man.
hold on. Did you like Unity?
no, that was the game that made me quit the franchise.
Okay. If you said yeah, I was about to cook you, bro. Because Unity is like is like ultimate trash compared to Syndicate.
Yeah, that's why it turned off so many people, and why Ubisoft was like, you know what? Let's
Yeah,
try
I know
something
that's
different.
sad. Yeah, I know it's sad. It's sad.
That's why
I'm really
Syndicate sales
it's sad
were down. Um,
because of Unity.
Just
yep,
because of Unity, yeah.
yep. Okay, man. Okay, all right, man. I'll let it slide. I'll let it slide. Uh,
I'm
um,
gonna let it slide. I'm gonna let it slide.
yeah. Wall, why don't you tell the people what you've been playing, man?
As I mentioned, I'll go more into detail. I've been playing Demon Souls and Returnal. So same feelings about Demon Souls. Gorgeous game, beautiful music. I'm going mage build, so I'm always from afar. I'm not getting up and close in your face. Uh, the bosses, I don't know what the big fuss was about. This game is not nearly as hard as the other games so far.
I'll be right back. By the way.
Um,
All right.
yeah. And with Returnal, that's where the sweat comes in. So with Returnal, I'm so far I'm in the story. I have no idea what's going on. I still haven't gotten deep into the weeds of it.
Yeah, that's
In
stuff
terms
you're
of
definitely gonna have to like look up and research yourself. It's one of those stories.
Gotcha. I mean, I don't, From Soft has that same reputation, and I'm used to it. I did it with Destiny back in the day when they had the Grimoire cards and you had to read it up all on your app. Um, the game so far, man, the gameplay, it is a roguelike, but wow, it is one of the most gorgeous roguelikes I've ever played in my life. It truly feels like a proper AAA roguelike, which I assume many could consider that, but it's not really. Its development wasn't that big, like in the scale of like a God of War or like a Last of Us. Um, which later on, talking about Returnal, we'll later get into the podcast deep into what happened this week with Housemarque. Um, but man, Celine, I can't really talk about the protect. I'm always big on narrative, and I'm sad that I can't really talk about the narrative because I don't really know Celine yet. Don't know the world. I love the environment. I love the music. It does give me that feeling of the world being alive and it being a living, breathing planet. Like the pulsing, the grass, like tentacle like when you pass through it. It's um, like it follows your direction. It's amazing. It truly feels like I'm playing Annihilation. If you have ever seen that movie, it really feels like it's familiar but alien at the same time.
Tell me
Um,
about the combat and the difficulty. How are you feeling about it so far?
so far, me being into this kind of uh, if a game is hard, no matter the approach, I most likely will like it. The combat feels incredible. First of all, with the DualSense, it's not what's the word? Experiential, I guess. As like a Ratchet and Clank, where it is more in tune with the DualSense, but the adaptive triggers, the rumbling, the immersive nature of it, it really makes combat all that more exciting, and that much more intense. It keeps me on my toes. There is no stopping. If you want to stop, you have to pause because there is no stopping when you're fighting a Returnal. You have to keep on going if you want to like actually survive and not lose all your progress. Which so far it hasn't gotten to me yet because I've died maybe like 3 times, but they've been just me learning how to actually maneuver around the field. I like the focus on traversal through the battlefield and not so much, take cover and shoot. You have to actually be moving constantly. It does remind me of more of a 3D Fury, because Fury did have this kind of thing where bosses or enemies would shoot like this barrage of orbs or spheres at you, and you had to weed your way around it. weave your way around it.
How many times
But
have you
yeah,
died so far?
so far like three.
Okay.
The first two were me learning,
Yeah.
and the third one was actually me screwing up because I got a bit uh, flustered fighting an enemy
Did you
because I didn't
fall?
know
Go ahead.
what.
Go ahead.
No, no, go ahead, go ahead.
Did you
Because it
fall
wasn't.
for the like you saw the like the health and the oblites or whatever underwater, and you tried to go in the water to get them? Have you fallen for that yet? That trick? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, so I assume that's a thing people do then.
Oh
That's
yeah,
a
yeah,
I'll
okay.
absolutely forget about that when I play it.
Yeah, it's very instinct focused because you're going from door to door. You're exploring each section, and you see this health, and you're like, oh, I need health. You don't think about it. You're just like, yeah, I can swim. No, it'll spit you right back. Like it won't spit you back, right back, but it does feel like that. Like the water's just like, no, take damage, get out of here.
yeah.
Um,
And it hurts,
but
man,
yeah,
because every bit of damage that you take in this game, it hurts like doubly so, man. Like 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 even the smallest mistake, man, is just like it's substantial, dude.
I've noticed I've noticed because I have almost died many times fighting, and it's not even like the clusters of enemies because clusters of enemies I can deal with. It's I get confident when I see just one single enemy and it's like slightly bigger, and I'm just like, oh, it's just one enemy. No, this enemy has like 14 different moves, and it moves around so much, and it doesn't stop. You stop because you have to take a moment because you're a human being, but the enemy does not stop. It's so aggro. Everything is so aggro in this game. I love it, but it's frustrating. But I love it. But yeah, the everything so far, it's all positive. I haven't. Once I get to like maybe the first boss, I assume, or like deeper with more complicated situations, like maybe uh, like different platforms higher up or lower down with enemies, and where I have to actually do some platforming. Maybe I'll have different feelings. I don't know. We'll see how I feel about it. But so far, I'm loving the game. Um,
What biome are you on right now?
um,
Still the first one or?
okay, so it's not like different orders. It's the same order for everyone, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, okay, so it is the first one. Yeah, yeah. I'm in the
Oh,
first one.
okay.
I assume it's like the dark, very like ruins
Yeah,
kind
yeah. I
of.
think it's called Overgrown
Okay,
Ruins or something.
I guess so.
Have you fought
Yeah.
the boss yet?
No, I've fought boss-like creatures. Not the boss. I assume there would be like a health bar below or above, or like in Fury where there's a health bar and there's like circles on top of it, and every time
Yeah,
you
yeah.
slash, like, okay, okay. So I haven't encountered anything like that, like that. So I'm in for a treat because it's gonna be hard as hell. How many biomes are there?
6.
Six. Okay.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, how hard are they? How hard are the bosses?
Um, the first one isn't bad. Oh God, I have to remember this. I found the second one pretty bad, even though I didn't die to him, but that one was like really stressful. Um, the third one isn't bad, but the third one's like really, really fun. Um, the fourth one, God, I don't even remember the fourth one to be honest. Oh, the fourth one, Hyperion. That one is also a really great boss fight. He's pretty tough. There's not a boss in the fifth one, and then the sixth one is probably one of the easiest ones, so it kind of varies. But kind of Demon Souls, I feel like some of the areas are tougher than the bosses themselves.
Yeah, that's been my experience with most like quote unquote like hard focused games. Like even with Neo, it was a matter of traversing, and then the boss was pretty easy. I'd say the only
Except for
game
that damn ape. Oh, not
that's
Neo. I'm sorry. I'm thinking
that's
Sekiro.
that's no Sekiro is like I agree. That was the first boss fight that actually like it broke me. That damn ape.
Same here. The entire game, I was like, okay, this is not bad. And I hit the ape. I'm just like, dude, what's going on?
Is this another game?
Yeah, I was like, what the hell?
If I've noticed something that, Jay, you mentioned how it's relative, difficulty. I've noticed I had the same thing in Dark Souls or Demon Souls and Sekiro, that I have a friend where he struggles more with monster, like more large creatures, and has an easier time with human-sized bosses. Me, I'm the other way around. I have a very, very hard time with human-sized bosses, and monster creatures I can kill like pretty easily. But for some reason, the only exception to that has been the ape, which you think you killed him. Psych, reaches for his head. I'm alive still. It's like, oh, okay, fine. God damn. Fuck you, Macho. I fucking, you reminded me of that game. Now I'm double stressed. I'm remembering Sekiro and I'm playing Returnal. Come on. Golly. But yeah, that's been my experience, man, with Returnal. I can't wait to keep playing more. This will probably be my drug for the week, other than classes, because fuck. But yeah, that's been my last 3 days.
Nice. I'm excited to hear your updated thoughts on that game, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Macho, you gonna ever get around to it or no?
Yes, yeah, for sure. I'm looking for a nice little window to actually get started on that. It might be this month. Who knows? Who knows? I'm actually dipping my toes into Final Fantasy Remake again, and I want to see if I can beat Mass Effect 2 and 3 this month, but we'll see.
Nice. All right, man. Let's get into the podcast, man. So this is kind of like a little topic, but I wanted to talk about it anyway because it's funny to me. So obviously I feel like we've known about this for a while. Kojima and Xbox are clearly working together on a apparently it's going to be like a cloud-based project. Did you guys see that some PlayStation fans are making a petition because they feel that Kojima is betraying PlayStation? So like they're making a petition to like, I don't know what the details are exactly, but it's like to cancel the Xbox game and to work on a PlayStation game instead. Have you guys seen that?
I can't take it seriously.
Yeah, I thought it was satire. I thought
No,
if
it's
people
real.
are actually, dude, come
real.
on. Like I saw,
It's
who was
real.
it? Someone shared it. I don't remember on Twitter, and I saw it was like it needed 200 signatures, or there were 200 signatures.
200 idiots, man.
200 idiots, yeah, 200 clowns. Like, what's this reminds me of what? When was it with Horizon? Of like, don't bring Horizon to PC. Or,
Yeah.
Like, it's exclusive to. What is this, man? Is this for real? Is this for real?
Yep, apparently. Yeah, Macho, what's your thoughts on this?
I hate it. I genuinely hate this stuff, man, because it's just adding more fuel to the fire. And yeah, man, it's just another thing about console wars, man. This whole week has been like headlines and stupid petitions, just really gearing towards console wars. I'm at that point now. I'm just like, I just don't want to be on Twitter anymore.
Honestly, yeah.
I keep seeing this stuff. I'm just like, all right, this is annoying. Like, it's genuinely annoying.
Yeah.
Childish.
Yeah. I don't blame you, man, for sure.
Bunch of toddlers. Toddlers are smarter than them. God.
Yeah. I just wanted to bring it up because I just want to say to those 200 people or whatever that y'all are sad, man. Y'all are sad.
Give us your kneecaps.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and what else? What else happens? Something about their family. I just don't like saying it, but something about their mom.
Oh,
I don't
man.
like saying.
Oh man, you might as well say it, man. You might as well say it.
Yeah.
Or so I heard, and I'm citing the good Professor J. Soul.
No, it's okay. You don't have to say it, man. I don't want to make you uncomfortable.
Tu madre es una hoe.
Yeah, oh man. But yeah, man, that's it's just sad, man. PlayStation community, man, y'all gotta grow the fuck up, man. Shit's sad. Um,
Seriously.
yeah, man. So yeah, just wanted to talk about that because it's to me, it's it's hilarious, but at the same time, again, just really really fucking sad. Like, and the funny thing is that you guys' petition isn't going to change shit. So yeah, like it just hey, Xbox and Kojima are working on a game. Just you gotta just accept that, man. Nothing wrong with that. The dude is independent. He's got every right to work with whoever the fuck he wants to. So like, I mean,
Yeah.
what can you do? Your petition's not gonna do anything, man.
Yeah, man.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let some nose pickers tell me what to do. If I'm like one of the hottest dudes in the industry and people just want to throw money at me to make stuff.
hell yeah,
You can
shit.
worry about these little booger snots about about the little platforms and plastic boxes. I'm gonna
Yeah,
buy new glasses with your petition money.
yeah. Yeah, it's not
Right.
like it's
Yeah.
not like
Rat.
it's not like PlayStation and Kojima are like they're not like friends or anything like that anymore because Kojima still very clearly has his Herman Hulst mouse pad, man. So obviously there's still a good relationship there, man. So
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah,
It's not like Kojima's mooning the PlayStation offices like he's doing Konami,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
definitely.
Yeah. So
Um,
stop your petition, you rat mustache looking ass, booger picking,
oh
dumbass
man,
clown, 2 pack of ass. Stupid. Like
yes
y'all
sir,
stupid if you do that.
yes sir.
God
Man.
damn.
Where's the gunshot soundbite when you need it, man? Um,
Oh man.
so so speaking of PlayStation, man, Masha, they made some additions to the PlayStation Studios family, right?
They did, yeah, they did quite a number. One will say that they're in an arms race.
Oh man,
God.
we might get into that. So yeah. Anyway, this week, man, PlayStation announced on Tuesday that they acquired Housemarque Games and that they would be joining PlayStation Studios. Then on Thursday, they announced that they had also acquired Nexxes, which is a sort of, I mean, for me, this one was sort of like, huh? Like I'd never heard of them before.
Hold up.
But they are specifically a studio since I think 1995 or 1999 who has specialized in porting games over the PC, very high
Mm.
quality PC ports. So that's very indicative of what PlayStation is planning to do with this studio. I don't think people should expect any original IPs from this studio. I think they've been brought on to do a very specific thing. Um, I guess my one specific point about Nexus, and then I'll pass it on to you guys, is that I think this sort of alleviates the biggest quote unquote problem with PlayStation dedicating themselves to PC releases, is the fact that like we just saw with Forbidden West, right? That the PC port they outsourced it to another studio, and the port
Horizon Zero Dawn.
oh yeah, 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 yeah. But like this ties into Forbidden West is that they the port came out janked. It came out broken as hell, and that required Gorilla to then put people onto the PC port to straighten it out. So you're taking manpower away from Forbidden West to kind of make sure that the Zero Dawn port is up to snuff, right? So the issue is taking people away from the main team to go and do this kind of side thing. Now that you have Nixus, you don't have to worry about that anymore, right? You don't have to, because I remember when the PC port for Zero Dawn was fixed, Gorilla came out and announced that okay, now our full team is focused on the development of Forbidden West. And I was like, man, like that kind of sucks. Like they had to kind of like deviate a little bit from Forbidden West to work on Zero Dawn, and it's like now that you have Nexus, you don't have to worry about that. So that's a really good thing. Yeah. So what's your kind of guys' thoughts on not only Nexus but Housemark?
Well, when it came to Nexus, I was actually very worried. For the fact that when people were saying like what they were, They said they worked on Square Enix games as like PC ports, and I was like, oh no, because the PC ports for Final Fantasy games are just not good at all. They're actually really bad. So that's what had me worried initially. But then when they said, they did Deus Ex, they did Avengers, I believe it was, and then
Tomb
I was a
Raider
little
as
more
well.
relieved. Yeah, Tomb Raider. I was a little more relieved because that meant that definitely more cleaner PC releases, which is nice. I wonder if they're kicking into gear PC ports like for the rest of the year. I'm really interested to see if like how much they ramp up as far as like the ports when it comes to like the Uncharted collection or maybe Ratchet and Clank games. My hope is Bloodborne. So I'm interested to see how that goes for the rest of the year. But yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm excited to actually play these games again or just finally play them on PC. That'll be a nice treat with my fancy new OLED. Um, Housemarque.
Ooh.
Oh man, yeah, that was like you're waiting to see that happen, right? Like
Yeah.
we're all just kind of like finally, you know. Um, it's like that cheesy trash TV show where you see two people hooking up like, man, they just need to get married, and they finally get married at the end. It's just like that, you know.
Too hot to
eh,
handle?
not like Too Hot to Handle, which was fantastic by the way.
Oh man.
Um, Fantastic show, great cast. Besides the point, yeah, this is something you're just waiting for. You're like, yes, finally, come on, y'all did it. It's just a thing. But one thing I took away from it that I didn't really think about before, because I'm not really too hot in the acquisition talk. I find it just like, okay, cool, and then let's move on to the next thing. This one, a couple of points were made up by you, Jade, that actually made me be like, okay, this is actually, yeah, this is cool. This is like a really cool thing for PlayStation, just for any developer looking to get acquired, and it's the fact of security.
Yeah.
I didn't really see as that before when like a developer is on their own. There's not really that sense of security that they get when, unless they're partnering with like a big publisher,
Yeah.
which was the take with EA and Joseph Fares' studio. It was the fact of even Xbox and Bethesda were the developers for the Outer Worlds, Obsidian, were saying that we actually feel secure, that now we actually have these tools we can kind of mix and match with other studios, and that's the nice part about it. It's the same thing with Housemarque. Now they're gonna get all the benefits from Naughty Dog to Insomniac to Studio Bend to Sucker Punch, and they're all just gonna be in one house, which is nice, and I think it's exciting for them. So I'm happy about this. I think it's a nice thing.
Yeah. Definitely. What about you, Walt?
I mean, I share the sentiment. You know, I was telling Macho earlier today how also when it comes to acquisitions and whatnot, I am also like, okay, well, let's see where this takes us. Like I haven't really started giving it much thought until we started this podcast, like the whole DualShock Sense podcast, because I hear you talk about how these studios will benefit and how all of this will go on. Uh, and frankly, it gives me perspective. And when was it that it made me think about this? When the whole San Diego studio, I think, where there was this whole talk about how indies were not being treated fairly, or there was this one studio that I think it was the Days Gone studio or the Last of Us remake, the one that was we're working on that we're not being like giving a fair chance, and we're like just being told what to do and not given creative freedom. And this gives me faith that a studio not as widely known, because quite frankly we know about Housemarque, but it's not a widely known studio. It's getting its recognition now more than before because of the cover it's been given. I'm excited to see what comes of this. I'm excited that they're part of a much bigger family, because this week PlayStation got much bigger with these acquisitions and with Nexxes, and that's another thing. Having a PC does make me excited hearing about Nexxes, because now I'll be able to play probably more PlayStation games on the PC if that's the whole approach that they're going for. But yeah, I'm always happy when business is done in a way that will probably benefit the consumer with getting probably more accessibility to certain games. Um, I'm all about exclusives, but I'm also all about, bringing these games to other platforms. So if PC is going to get more love from PlayStation, like it has in the last 6 months, then hell yes. And with Housemarque, I I just hope that this just means that uh, they'll keep the ball rolling, and we'll see much bigger things from them, and probably more feedback from a bigger company like like PlayStation is, when developing a game. Because with Returnal, as fantastic as it is so far, it did have its few hiccups at launch with certain decisions that people question. I don't know if that'll come into play later on with how they approach another game, but yeah, I'm excited regardless. More for PlayStation, I guess. And if you sign the petition, you're a clown. You know?
So, also, Matcha, this is kind of something that you've been pointing out. The human errors on PlayStation's part. With, I mean, there's a lot of examples, but the most recent one is that they kind of, I guess, leaked their own acquisition of Bluepoint. What's going on there, man?
Yeah, it's another one of those things. Like, finally, it happened. Like, we'll see how that goes. I mean, it's a leak, but like, I feel like it's one of the most believable leaks you can even see.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and
I from this, I kind of hope that the Bluepoint really kind of they give Bluepoint the leeway and the creativity to do their own project, because I think they've proven themselves more than enough times already.
yeah. That's sort of like the tough call, right? Like I'm sure Bluepoint would love to be able to work on their own. I mean, at least this is my sort of perspective, is that like I would never want to be known or like pegged as the team that works on everybody else's stuff, right? Like I would love to be at the position that I could do something original myself, to actually stretch those creative wings. So like, there's that, but then at the same time, it's also really cool to think about, oh, what kind of IP could Bluepoint go in there and touch up next, you know? That's also really exciting. So like, honestly, whatever they decide to do next, I'm totally on board for. But yeah, man, this was we do believe this is real, right? Because there's no way that you actually go through the effort of making, or photoshopping, or just creating an image, right? They actually put in the Demon Soul kind of slither and added it to the roster there, and then they put Bluepoint's name on the picture as well. Like, there's no way you go through that effort, and that amount of effort is a mistake, right? Like, someone consciously went on their computer and step by step made and put that image together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would be baffled if that was not true. I'm just imagining someone sitting in their office, and they finished the image, they put it all together, and they're like, "Oh, you said Housemarque. Oh, well, I mean, I already put this together. I'm not gonna delete it." Like, this was a lot
It
of
got
work.
lost in translation,
I
right? It got
guess.
lost in translation.
I guess, man.
Bluepoint and Housemarque are the same Japanese characters.
I guess so, man. But yeah, man. Likewise with Housemarque. And I guess we can kind of get into this. You kind of talked about the arms race kind of thing, Macho. Um, but just sort of like PlayStation's sort of strategy with acquisitions versus what Microsoft is doing, and there's nothing wrong with this, but Microsoft very much feels more like scattershot in their acquisitions, as opposed to PlayStation. This is only their second acquisition in, I want to say, 2011 was their last one. They acquired Sucker Punch in 2011, and then Insomniac in
No, there's.
2019, and then
Oh, there you go.
now Housemarque. So this is a rarity for them. They don't do this very often, but the major difference being that, like, okay, we are going to work with you for a number of years, right? Like, it took Sucker Punch, all of Sly Cooper, both Infamous games, before Sony was like, okay, now we feel comfortable enough to actually bring you guys into the fold. It's similar to Housemarque now. Like they've done so many titles with these guys. Same thing with Bluepoint. And after those years of getting familiar with each other, now it's like, okay, now let's actually put a ring on it, as opposed to sort of what Microsoft is doing. So what's your guys' thoughts on these sort of like differences in their sort of strategies?
Well, you go first, woman.
Honestly, man, it's business, you know. And they have their own philosophy and approach on how it's working. So far, for both of them, it is working one way or another. It's not like either of them are in trouble. If anything, the community makes it a much bigger problem than it is. When thinking about Microsoft, it does give me like Disney vibes and how they acquire so many studios without really, not that they don't think about it, but as a viewer, as a spectator, it just gives me like food for thought and think about how do they come to these conclusions. PlayStation does feel a lot more specific when they do acquire a studio. Just like you mentioned, they think about it, they work with them. All right, let's put a ring on it. Just like you mentioned. I don't know. I do see how one is more quality over quantity, and then the other one's vice versa. Not saying that Microsoft doesn't have good games or good studios under its belt, but the philosophy is very different. One focuses more on right now, and I'm talking about current Microsoft and PlayStation, because they've all had like different goals throughout the years. PlayStation right now feels more quality, like just put out the games, like best game that we can put out. And while Microsoft is more bang for your buck, like, oh, you can have 100+ games for just, I don't know how much was it, $15 a month, or $12 a month, or whatever. But I mean, it's how they approach this. It's neither here or there for me, but it's interesting to see how they differ so much in how they handle a very like the same industry, but different tactics essentially. But yeah.
What about you, Macho?
Uh, this is the exact thing I was talking about in my hot fire tweet that people want to roast me on.
Uh,
Um, with the whole like organic acquisition and bringing in studios and all that kind of stuff. Where like again, we already just made it clear that the way they acquire studios and the way they kind of just go about establishing these relationships are completely different. We saw Microsoft just go out and just buy a publisher
Yeah.
and claim it as their own. But even if they had a long, like, lasting relationship, still, it is what it is. You know, they didn't buy studios; they bought a publisher.
Can we talk about that really quick? That people are equating an entire publisher, a publisher who has, I think, like something like 8 studios underneath their umbrella, to a purchase like Housemarque. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's that's exactly what I was talking about, though, because it's not like PlayStation went out and just bought I don't know, like a Double Fine or something, you know, where like it didn't make sense because you don't know, like we haven't seen them kind of like grow with each other throughout the years, you know.
Yeah.
We've seen this with Housemarque, we've seen it with Bluepoint. So like the fact that they made out and be like, oh yeah, we're gonna add them to our family. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. You know, it doesn't really move the needle as much as buying an entire publisher that owns all these different franchises.
Yeah.
These developers were already making games for PlayStation, so that's that, and that's what I meant when I was saying in my tweet, like when people were roasting me for, I was saying like that's what I mean by like organic, not like they developed it, you know, they planted the seed in the ground, they nurtured it. No, they're basically just going in and like helping them grow, and that's what I meant more or less.
And I
Of
mean,
like
and
it's
you
different.
see that organic growth like more recently with teams like Kojima Productions and Deviation Games and Haven Studios and Firewalk
Hmm.
Studios. Like these are teams that are literally, like you just said, planting the seeds. I know that's like not what you meant specifically, but like with these studios, yeah, they are quite literally like they're right there, like alongside those teams at the sort of like incubation period, right when these guys are like just like kind of getting off the ground, and helping them
Right.
with their first title.
Right, yeah. It's not like they're getting into an established studio. They're literally just laying the foreground, and that's what I really meant. Where like PlayStation does it different from Xbox, how they've done it.
Yeah,
And I would like to see that on both sides because then that's how you create great stuff, and PlayStation's history is evident to that. So, but yeah, it's interesting that the fact back to the arms race thing. That's I don't really see it as that. I see it just more as just these companies are doing their completely separate things, and one's been
Yeah.
playing catch up, and they are absolutely like in that same line as their competition. And then the other is just more or less doing their own thing, but being smart and strategic about what they do because yeah, they can't really make the same moves as their competitors. So I think it's just more or less benefiting them, and that's what's on their minds.
yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, I guess that pretty much does it for. I guess like for those like I wouldn't be surprised if like those four teams that I just listed that they become acquisition targets like somewhere down the line, right? Like 5 or like 10 years down the line. Because that's definitely like what that feels like. Like yeah, they're independent now, but we're gonna be there for the incubation period. That like I said, like these do more feel like the potential for like an organic way to grow your PlayStation Studios lineup. So like yeah, those studios I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere down the line they do become acquisition targets. But yeah, it's just interesting to see the sort of difference in strategies, man, and I guess like you can have your preference towards like one or the other, but like hey, they seem to be working for both sides, so yeah, it's whatever. So yeah, man, pretty cool stuff to see Housemarque joining the. I feel like this is like because right people complain about PlayStation the PlayStation template or whatever, right? And I feel like Returnal is or Housemarque, the games that Housemarque makes, I feel like is definitely offers a bit of a like more variety and a fresher palette or a palette cleanser to the overall PlayStation Studios lineup. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
That's exactly what I was thinking too when they made the announcement of actually bringing in Housemarque, and then eventually Bluepoint Games, where now you have this potential for them to make their own a crazy IP that they will have in the back of their minds, and then you have something like Returnal, where it's flipping genres on itself and it's creating something familiar but something unique at the same time. I feel like we're going to see the same thing from Haven. We're going to see the same thing from Firewalk Studio. Whatever multiplayer incentive that they're thinking of, and if PlayStation decides to bring them in, cool. That's another one to like add to your library of unique experiences to offer to people.
yeah,
Essentially. Yeah.
Yeah.
definitely.
And with Xbox, they kind of just knocked it all in one go, right? By buying the publisher, and then they have ID Software, they have Arcane, they have um, Bethesda themselves. So they already have all that variety kind of in one package. Where patients kind of a little more of like, let's see what works for our family, a little bit
Mm-hmm.
more. So
Yeah,
that's how I see it, though.
yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, so definitely some exciting stuff there. Um, let's talk about Dead Space, man. Um, So, actually, I guess this kind of does relate to EA in general, but man, I was bummed out, man. BioWare announced that they aren't going to be at the whole EA Play thing that's taking place later this month. Well, they will be there, I think, showing off like Star Wars stuff, but in terms of like Dragon Age and Mass Effect, the two things that people actually want to see, they aren't gonna be there. So that kind of bummed me out, man. Similarly to the next Elder Scrolls, man, I'm not expecting it to see Mass Effect or play that game for like years, man, which kind of makes me sad, but it's whatever, man. Um, but specifically to Dead Space, and I'm gonna let you guys kind of take this one away because I'm not really that familiar with the Dead Space franchise. We have some rumors floating around that it's not necessarily a new entry in the franchise, but a remake of the first game. Are you guys down for that, or what's your guys' thoughts on this?
I I don't know Macho's view on it, but it does. It's strange if there's a remake of a game that. Okay, so when I think remake, first of all, and I think one of the biggest remakes that there's been in the last couple of years, which was Resident Evil 2 remake. Um, when I think remake, there's a purpose behind it, right? When you hear Last of Us remake, that doesn't make sense, unless it doesn't merit the leap that it's gonna take. Because if you have a Last of Us 1 with Last of Us 2 coding, the same kind of approach at combat and graphics and environment, that's cool. But do we really need to do that? I don't know. With Dead Space, I think it's the same kind of thing, where having played it a couple months ago for the first time, the first Dead Space, it doesn't make sense to remake it from the ground up, but if they do it, there's a lot of things that they could add to it, not so much gameplay wise, but more story wise, more world building. Because one of the big things about Dead Space, I think, is that the first game does focus a lot more on environment, which is fantastic, and a lot on you surviving, and you don't really have a voice. It's a mute protagonist, so it's more of a you are in the player's shoes in that sense. Um, if the remake is done, I don't really know what I would do, but I do know where they could touch upon. If it's a remaster, it makes more sense because it looks better, I guess. But I don't know, Macho. You haven't played Dead Space in a while. Do you think it needs a remake, or if a remake would be beneficial right now?
Um, to be honest, the only thing that I could think in my mind if they warrant it as a reboot or a remake
Yeah.
is to make it first person.
Wow.
Yeah,
Really?
that that's like then I don't understand why would they would remake or reboot it unless it wasn't first person. Because the
Interesting.
game itself it's old, but it's like it plays
It
really
holds
well.
up. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
and
holds
it
up.
holds up to this day, so why not just remaster it? So if they're
Hmm.
gonna do a reboot or a remake, then obviously they're probably gonna do like a new protagonist, um, possibly, or just make it first person, which is like a whole new spin on Dead Space, right? The series has never been first person. All you have to really do is worry about the environments, which the first one is like incredible,
Mm-hmm.
and they can
Yeah.
really follow like the Resident Evil route, where it's like really creepy and unsettling for the entire game, and it's true to nature a survival horror. You can do that in first and third person. So that's my opinion, like where this reboot or remake can go
Interesting.
if they decide that that if that is really what's being worked on. But I'll be more happy if it was third person. But then again, I said the same thing with Resident Evil, and I love Village. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it definitely. I do think it's a bigger. One of the big things that made Dead Space. I'm talking about the first one. Two, I haven't beaten. Three, I haven't played, but I hear it's a bit controversial. But what made Dead Space so stand out a little bit in terms of its many things, but especially its HUD, is how there is none. There is no way of you knowing like digitally around the screen what you have. It's all on the body. It's all on Isaac's body. So your health is this little stem on on your back that indicates how much health you have. There's a meter for the gravity of gun or whatever. The amount of bullets you have is when you aim and you see digitally on the gun how many bullets you have, which made it that much more immersive. Which, if it's in first person, I assume they could do it just with the arms. Like, you could tell, like, by looking at your arm how much health you have or whatever. Um, Interesting. I hadn't thought about that. If they do first person, I would prefer that they give you the option of switching between first person and third person. You know what I mean? Like playing the campaign in first person or third person.
Yeah, yeah, and that's always a tough thing because I feel like your design choices are by third person, right? Especially when it comes to horror games,
Yeah.
you know? So I feel like if they're really gonna go one way, they just have to stick with it. But I'd love to be
Yeah.
wrong. I would love to be wrong in that
No,
sense.
no, yeah. And if it's a remaster, then yeah, there's no debating around it. That it makes sense, sure. If it, I assume it'd be a whole trilogy remaster. Um, I wasn't when they first announced that they were reviving a series. I did not by any means like expect it to be Dead Space 4. That's not gonna happen. If anything, the closest you'll get to Dead Space 4, it's not even about Dead Space. It's Callisto Protocol, just because it is kind of in the same vein of, the philosophy and of its approach. Um, but yeah, I mean, if it's a remake, honestly, if anything, I would love to see like next gen, like 60 FPS, just what are they called? Necromorphs. That would be unsettling as hell. On this OLED TV, can you imagine looking at that 60 FPS Necromorphs, that the USS or USG Ishimura, seeing that? Oh my God, the amount of scares and
That'd be cool, man.
disgusting creatures. That would be amazing. That would be incredible. But yeah, I mean, this is more of just waiting to see what it's going to be. What is it, July 22nd, the EA Play thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for that. That's honestly the only thing I'm excited for when it comes to the EA conference. I mean, what else are they going to do that
What, you're
will
not
blow my socks
excited to
off?
learn more about FIFA
Get that shit out of here.
Yeah.
or
Fucking, it doesn't
Madden or
Or
like any of
Peggle.
those
man.
things, man?
Peggle 2,
Oh,
man.
Peggle.
Yeah, man. Come on, man. Don't
God.
disrespect the
I'm
GOAT.
so excited to learn about how much money I'm going to spend on Cristiano Ronaldo. I
Oh,
love it.
man.
Those cards, man. Hell yeah, that RNG, that sick RNG. Hell yeah.
Exactly. Come on, man. That's where the
Listen,
real
man.
excitement lies.
Not
Forget
gonna
about
lie.
Dead Space. It's all about
I
FIFA.
bet. No, yeah, that's space. Give me more FIFA. Give me FIFA. It's so immersive that you give me like a DualSense soccer ball or football ball, and I can just kick it around my room and play FIFA like the most immersed I've ever been.
Oh,
Can
man.
you imagine that?
That's like the goddamn skateboard that they gave you in Tony Hawk Ride.
Oh,
that was god awful, and you
oh
couldn't even
God.
kick flip on it, or if you did try to kick flip on it, it would break.
Oh man. When you take risks, there are certain risks they just don't make sense. I mean, I get it. If you, I honestly, if I had like enough resources to like make a crazy idea, I would probably do it. If it didn't make me lose a lot of money, but now I'm imagining a DualSense ball, like a DualSense football ball, like that. That'd be stupid. That'd be so dumb, but so funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Dead
That's
Space.
something in like a marketing advertisement where you're playing your controller and he's throwing it around turns into a soccer ball and then be in the game.
Be
PlayStation
in the game.
5 FIFA
Feel
27.
feel like a FIFA player. Oh,
Yep.
oh God, no. Yeah, no. Yeah, man.
So speaking of horror games, man, we got Konami, man. Are they back in the game?
What?
The hell's going on, man? This is like some weird like alternate dimension, man. I never once believed, in my lifetime at least, that Konami would actually step away from, or not step away, but say like, you know what? We can do our pachinko machines, and we can make games, and we can make even more money. I never imagined that they would come to this realization, man. Um, so they announced it was like 3 a.m. in the morning when they announced this, man. That they basically got into an agreement with Bloober Team to work on one of their IPs, and knowing Blooper's history, we can. There's only one assumption, right? Obviously, Blooper's not going to be working on a Castlevania game, so the link.
Sadly.
The link is. Oh, you want Bloober to be working on Castlevania?
No, the fact that it's not that they're not doing anything with Castlevania is just making me sad.
I wouldn't hold your breath, man. Apparently that's
Hey,
one
man.
of the IPs they licensed too.
Getting some heat lately with all the Castlevania love. I mean,
So
dude,
Blooper and Silent Hill.
Yep, that's right, man. and they, yeah, man, yeah, yeah. What the hell was that, man? Someone was screaming. God damn.
That wasn't me.
listen.
Oh, okay. I thought that was you, Macho. I was about to say. But I mean, yeah, to be honest, that's accurate to the people's emotions to this news. People were screaming into the void.
Macho, why? What, you don't want another Silent Hill? You don't want.
I mean, I'm ambivalent to a Silent Hill. Blooper. I don't know.
Oh,
Man.
okay. Wait, okay.
I played a little bit of the medium, and it was fine, but I never finished it because that PC port was just really bad.
Hey man, it's coming to PlayStation. You can play it on your PlayStation 5 when it comes up on PlayStation 5.
No, I like what they were doing with the medium. I thought. But the thing about it is that I was like 2 to 3 hours into it, and then the PC port was just botched. So the entire like concept of it was 2-3 hours into it, and I was a little bored. So even then, I didn't really have an incentive to keep playing. And then when I start running into the graphical hitches and really annoying bugs, I was just like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah. That's fair. I haven't played that game either. I have no intention on playing it, but I mean that
it's not by any means god awful. I do agree with Macho's points. My big thing with the game is the idea around it, the premise. I think it would really work on the PlayStation 5 and its SSD and how seamless it would feel, and probably I don't know when's it coming out for PlayStation.
I have no idea. I could care less.
But I mean, like if it's a full 60 or 70, I'm not touching it because I have it on Game Pass. I forgot I have a Series S. I can play there. Never mind, Al. Keep going.
No, it is what it is. It's kind of jarring. As far as like the double perspective, like it's cool, but at the same time, it's just like
Jesus Christ, Nemesis could come into this building. What the hell, man?
Bro, that man can go anywhere. What you mean?
That's exactly that's the exact reason why I loved Resident Evil 3 on PS1.
Oh my god,
it's so good.
The game is stupid fun for that reason.
Hey man, but it's also okay. Jay, remember when I was shit talking the whole Resident Evil 3? It is because of the price. We all got it on good price, but it is the fact that it is the kind of game it is. I don't know if it should be a $60 game, but who am I to judge the price? You know, I'm a pleb.
Hey man, a lot of people have been judging the prices of a lot of things lately.
But the game, I love the game. I never played the original Resident Evil 3, so this one's a treat for me. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, but yeah, man. I mean, hey, it is what it is, man. Blooper. Hey, they got the opportunity to hopefully blow us away, man. So I'm crossing my fingers for the best, man. But their track record doesn't inspire a lot of hope for me. But I guess we'll see.
It's exactly like when Square Enix gave the Final Fantasy VII Remake project to CyberConnect. I think it was CyberConnect 2.
Yeah.
Which the guys who did like the dot hack games, and I was just like,
Yeah.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one, homie.
Yeah, that was an interesting choice.
Yeah. But dude, Silent Hill, honestly, now I'm kind of worried now. You know, I wasn't all excited, but now I don't know, man. Golly, do whatever, man. It's Konami. They did
I can ca-
survive. I'm
yeah,
down for whatever.
I can care less about Silent Hill, to be honest. Resident Evil all the way.
I never played Silent Hill ever. I've never played a Silent Hill, so I want to play a Silent Hill. What's the best way to play a Silent Hill? I don't know.
People will tell you too, which I tried and I just got bored.
Oh man,
damn.
they might come after you for that one.
Yeah, it's
Ooh.
okay. They came at me for worse stuff. So.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna be keeping my eye out on that one. Apparently there might be another Silent Hill game coming as well. This one by a prominent Japanese developer, so we will be keeping our eye on that one as well. Blooper, it's funny because I made when this was announced, I tweeted out. I don't know if you guys saw the picture, but I tweeted a picture of like SpongeBob like washing the dishes, and like he was like looking to the side with like this real like concerned face, and I just captioned it like Silent Hill by Bloober Team, like question marks and stuff like that, and I got like a couple hundred likes on it, and that's like basically my like reaction to all this, man. Like come on, man, Bloober Team, for real.
Yeah, that was a really odd choice. That was a really odd choice. I don't know why you were like, hey, you want to work on like one of the most beloved franchises in gaming?
Yeah, but hey man, I'm hoping for the best, man. Hopefully they got this.
Yeah, seriously.
So let's move on to let's get into the shits, man. Ghost of Tsushima's director's cut.
Yes, sir.
Amen. Amen.
This is really weird, man. So because initially, and I thought this would have worked out a lot better, is that I felt like we were not led to believe, but like the whole idea before this was announced was that okay, this is going to be something in the veins of like a standalone sort of release like Miles Morales or The Lost Legacy, and like yeah, I was totally down for that, right? But like no, this is essentially a souped up version of the PS4 game, adding in things that should have been in the original PS4 version, and then on top of the expansion, and then you're also getting new content for Legends mode as well, which is all well and good, but the sort of genesis of the whole sort of conversation and people's complaints with this is the fact that like, all right, so before we move it, let's actually like run this down. So I think I got this pretty much correct, but you guys correct me if I'm wrong. So the director's cut PS4 version, if you want to upgrade that to the PS5, that's going to cost you $20. The director's cut, no?
You're saying to upgrade PS4 to PS5?
So Ghost, the PS4 Ghost director's cut to getting the PS5 content is $30, right?
So here I'll break it down because I had to look at this a couple times too. So the way it
I
works
got
is
it
that
also in front of me.
Yeah, me too.
the
So
way it works is that you have the thing is you have Ghost of Tsushima PS4 and you're able to upgrade to director's cut. That's $20 right then and there.
Right.
okay,
and
yeah,
then
that's what I meant. Yeah, gotcha. And
Yeah,
then if you have it on
With all of its
PS5,
perks.
and then if you have it like okay, so if you just have the regular PS5 version and you want to upgrade to director's cut on PS5, that's $30.
On August 20th you're able to do that if you did not pre-order a director's cut. If you did, then you could upgrade to the PS5 version for $10.
Okay.
Yeah, if you have the PS4 version of the director's cut, then you only pay $10. If you have the PS5 version of just Ghost of Tsushima, it's $30 for all the enhancements, and then PS4 price for you to PS4 price for people. Yeah, you mentioned this one already. Jesus Christ, so many upgrades, and then $60 if you're just paying for Ghost of Tsushima, obviously, and then $70 for
Right.
Ghost of Tsushima. And what's the full price for the director's cut? It's $70, right?
Yeah, it's $70.
Like just as a PS5.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Um,
Okay.
So the director's cut PS4 content upgrade to PS5 specifically is $10. Yeah, and then Ghost on PS4, and if you want to upgrade that to the Ghost Director's Cut on PS5, the content is $30.
Yep.
So
Mm.
yeah, so like I guess specifically people like we like there's no issue with paying, the money for the expansion, and that obviously warrants the cost of price. Like I don't think anyone is trying to say, or there's definitely some people who is trying to get this for free, but like I don't think the main complaint isn't with the paying for the expansion or whatever. I guess people's biggest problem is things like the lip syncing or whatever, or the dual sense features, or the haptic feedback and the 3D audio, that being costing $10 or whatever it is, while other companies have been able to do that free of charge. And I think
Right.
people are saying that like this should have been like how 7 Remake handled their sort of upgrade path.
Yeah, we're essentially, I mean, not if you got on PS Plus, but if you have
Right, right.
Final Fantasy Remake PS4,
Mm.
you got the enhancement of 60 FPS, resolution boost if you upgrade to PS5, and then the expansion, which is the intermission DLC
Hmm.
episode, was $20.
Which makes sense because it's a DLC. But for the upgrade of the console, that includes all of the fresh coat of painting. That should be free, I think. Right?
Well, yeah, yeah, for Final Fantasy Remake that was free. Yeah.
Okay, okay. But for this, in this case, you're paying. I'm thinking about me. So I got the PS4 version. I'd be paying what, $30 for
Yeah, so
the
here
Yeah.
director's cut.
I'll break it down a little bit. So it's working like this. So let's say that this is what I did. So let's say you wanted to get a director's cut right now, pre-order, right? Well, you're gonna be paying
Mm-hmm.
$20, and on August 20th, when the thing is actually released, you will have the option to upgrade to PS5 for $10. And that in that $10, you'll be getting DualSense features. You'll be getting, I think it's checkerboard 4K, frame rate targeting 60 frames per second, and I think in the DualSense features. But I think that's really it as far as they didn't really go too much into detail about what else that. Oh yeah, the Japanese lip sync too. That's the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what you'll be
Which
getting with the
which is
PS5
fantastic.
upgrade.
Which is
Yeah, yeah, it's
fantastic.
good
All
stuff.
these inclusions it's a great. It's a great package of things. I get it that people are questioning, that it's being priced, and then not only priced, it's for some, I guess, heavily priced. I don't know how big Kojima is going to be in terms of an expansion. I don't know how many hours. Did they say how many hours it's going to be of
No,
add-on?
no.
Okay.
No, but yeah, but I think
Um,
that's what Jay was saying before. No one's really arguing about the price of the expansion, which is
Correct.
essentially
It's more of the upgrades.
$20. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was essentially
it's
$20.
$10 for the
Yeah, for like the enhancements when other companies are just not
yeah.
doing that. So a lot of people have to ask is, well, what is so warranted about this update for PS5 features that warrants the $10? Is it just more to justify that Sony is really trying to justify their $10 price hike for their PS5 games?
Hmm.
That includes like all these different features. So like what really warrants this $10 for you to price it on people, or is it really just a greed thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
weird. It's weird because they've handled this correctly with their own PlayStation Studios games in the past. They've done the free of charge for Miles Morales going from PS4 to PS5, Sackboy going from PS4 to PS5. Like they've handled that, like perfectly with just free. So like, I don't know how you kind of mess that up with with this.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a little weird how they're stepping in with this,
Yeah,
especially when it comes to Japanese lip sync. I understand like the hard work that gets put into these things, and
right.
I no play want to downplay it by saying that that's not worth the money, because
Yeah,
at the end of the day, I don't really know how much work that goes into it.
yeah,
But at the same time, when your competitors and everyone else is kind of like following that train, and you just want to deviate from that,
yeah. It
which
makes you
they
look
have done
bad.
with like price hiking. They've done it with like increasing the price of their games. You know,
Yeah,
so this just looks weird that
yeah.
they're
Yeah.
charging for DualSense features and higher stuff, especially when the PS4 version of the game that you could play on PS5 is 1080p 60. So do you really need to upgrade a PS5 to get like, a completely better experience?
Yeah.
Probably not, because even when I'm playing Spider-Man and I'm having like DualSense features into it, I'm not feeling any different than I'm playing on PS4. But if you told me that with Returnal and Ratchet, or even Control Ultimate Edition, then yeah, that having DualSense absolutely makes the difference. It makes you more immersive into the game. But will it be the same in Ghost of Tsushima? It's too early to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's I don't know, man, like Sony, I don't know, Sony's been a little weird, man, with that specifically. Um, but
I mean, it's all about, again, here we go back to it. Transparency. Just say why. Just say what warrants the pricing. Just because that's obviously you look at you look at the other games, what they're not charging for it. And if they give us justification and that's not enough, then hey, all you petitioners, take that same energy, put it there. Don't price it. Sign this petition. I don't know, do that instead of being a dumbass. You know what I mean?
No, I think a lot of people, what they should do is that if you want to play like Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut and the Iki expansion and all the other features are coming to it, like the Legends multiplayer modes are being added to, all that stuff. If you want to play that, you absolutely can. You just pay the $20 expansion, which is what I'm doing. And then if you're hesitant on what the PS5 upgrades are going to bring, then just wait. If you don't think it's worth $10, then don't pay it. That's okay.
Yeah, you don't have to pay it. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of games. You don't have to buy them.
Yeah, you're getting a really solid experience on PS5 with the PS4 version. So to me, is Japanese lip sync gonna really enhance my experience of the game? Me personally, no. But other people might see that differently and might make it worth it.
Yeah, for me it's a slippery slope because I tried to do the Japanese and the lip sync was just too distracting that I just went back to English. So the idea of doing a full Japanese playthrough does make my idea of going back for a second time that much more exciting. But I don't know if it's that exciting, to fork over, that money. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't know.
So I think people should just be smart in how they do it, and if they want to pay it, then who am I to tell you otherwise? That's your money. You do what you want to do with it. Just know what comes with it. If you're deciding to fork over the money.
Hashtag it's
always
my money.
make an informed decision. It's your money and you need it now.
No.
It's your money and you need it now.
Yeah, man. So, and again, man, I felt like this would have been way better if this was just a $40 standalone thing. And now, you know what? I thought we were off the hook with Last of Us Part 2 when they got the 60 FPS patch. Because the biggest fear with Last of Us, the biggest fear with Last of Us was the sort of people thinking there was going to be an inevitable remaster, echoing what they did with Part 1, right, with the remaster in 2014. So people were really scared that okay, in a year later they're gonna put out a souped up version of Part 2 for another $70, right, for full price. And then when the 60 FPS patch came out, I was like, okay, we're off the hook now. We that. We don't have to worry about that anymore because they essentially they gave us the higher frame rate version free of charge. But now with them doing a director's cut of Tsushima, I'm totally expecting one for Last of Us as well. So. Especially with factions, on the way. I'm really nervous, man.
You're not licking your lips.
I mean, for Last of Us, I'm always licking my lips. Let's be honest.
Hey, that's what's up.
But
that's honestly what I'm waiting for to spend my free money on. So I'm I want to get Returnal, but Last of Us 2, man, I really want to see what they do, man, because I want to play that game too.
Yeah.
And if they have like a souped up version of it down the line, where it's like a Last of Us Part Two director's cut, and it's including, like another part of Abby's quest or Ellie's, or and including factions too, then in $70, hell yeah, I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean
Yes,
that's
sir.
that's the biggest question. If it's adding, on top of factions and oh my god, Jesus, I thought
What?
I shot those little like generators that produces electricity, and
Mm,
and I thought it would shock Nemesis and it didn't, man. He just powered through it. The hell, man.
amen.
Yeah, he's a beast. You
All
gotta be
right, man.
careful
I
with
guess
him.
I
Yes,
gotta heal. I
sir.
was trying to do a run where I didn't have to heal, but Nemesis, man. I'm gonna have to start all over after this. Um, oh my god, dude, this guy. Um, what's up, Mamoon? Nice to see you in the chat, man. So yeah, man. I'm definitely nervous to see what they do with Last of Us. Um, but yeah, man. That's it for the director's cut of Tsushima, man. Um, I I
Yeah, we'll
guess
see. We'll see.
the last topic is and Machi, you might have to take it away on this because I haven't really done my research on this. I've just really heard this in passing, but this thing with PlayStation and indie developers, what's going on with this?
Yeah, I'm adding a feather to my cap on this one, Jay. I'm adding to a feather in my cap on this one.
Oh man.
Because we talked about this, like, what, a couple months ago? Where I was saying that I was worried about PlayStation burning the bridges between its indie developers. And we're seeing them, yeah, we love indies, we have Kenna, we have all this stuff, we have Sifu. It's looking all fine and dandy, but turns out that is not the case with these indie developers. And the one thing that was being brought up from this indie developer, let's see if I get his name real quick, Ian Garner. I'm not sure what game he was developing really. He's the co-founder of I think a studio or maybe the game. I think it's a game. No, maybe the studio. Neon Doctrine, basically. But that's what we were talking about. But the point is that he was making is like how the process for even trying to like bring attention to their indie games costs an arm and a leg, where it takes like 25K just to appear on the front of your store, and that it's very scattered and it's not very helpful as far as trying just to bring the content to the platform, and it's just a super frustrating experience. I'm basically doing like a boiler paraphrasing here, but the point of it was that these indie developers are kind of voicing their opinion on working with PlayStation, and that it's not the best, and it's more or less just kind of deviating them from even bringing their games to the platform or making games specifically for the platform. And it's the same worry that I had a couple months ago, where they decided to cut off the PlayStation Store for Vita, PS3, and PSP, knowing that there are developers that are still making games on Vita, and without any kind of warning to them as well, even selling them dev kits, which is like incredibly like scummy. Um, they did reverse that decision after fan backlash, but regardless, it's just still in the back of my mind that the PlayStation is not doing well with their relationship on any developers and making it easy and friendly and inviting for them to bring the games to their platform, and that's going to drive people away, right? If you hear about a company that you're applying to a job to and you hear they have super shitty ways of treating their employees, you're not going to want to send an application to that company. That's just the fact of that. So the fact that we're seeing this and that other indie devs are kind of voicing their same opinions about it seems that there's trouble in the waters. And according to Jason Schreier, which I'm going to actually say his tweet here, and give me one sec, I'm going to bring it up. I actually retweeted it. But he brought another side to the story, right? Because a lot of people are saying, PlayStation this, PlayStation that, they need to do better. And yes, they do. But there's another side to this story I think people should probably keep in mind. And it makes sense. It makes absolute sense now. So here it is. So Jason Schreier said lots of talk and headlines about Sony charging 25K for store placement, but that's not what matters. The real story, as I've heard both from indie devs and Sony folks, is that PlayStation's support team for indies is severely understaffed. Their priority is big blockbusters. So that's where the other side of the story comes in, where these indie developers are voicing concerns and they're saying PlayStation is being very, very, very shitty on their communication with indie devs, and people are getting fed up and they just don't want to deal with it anymore. But the other side of that is that, well, they're severely understaffed, so that's why there's this problem going on, and it's a problem needs to be fixed and alleviated. But um, it might be too late, and they just need to jump on the gun. So yeah, that's more or less the story around that. So I've been aching to hear your guys' thoughts on this.
I guess my biggest thing is that it's a problem where, because I've seen some things here and there, but I guess for me the biggest problem is that, like, if this has gotten to a point where indie devs, because there's this whole kind of talk about that these indie devs are they aren't getting any traction on the PlayStation platform, right? That they are selling so much fewer copies in comparison to every other platform, that it's gotten to a point that they're kind of like, why even put our games on PlayStation? And
That's the other part of it too. Yeah.
My thing is that, like, if it has gotten to that point, you need to fix. If it's gotten to that point where developers are questioning why we should even put our games on the platform, that's a problem. Like that.
Yep.
That's kind of where I take umbrage. And then there's another thing too that I did read about, was that this whole thing about that. First of all, in terms of the whole 25K thing, like, I don't really see too much of an issue with that. Like, if I want my book to be in Barnes and Noble, like, obviously I need to pay money for that advertisement. I feel like that's sort of like a natural thing. That's just kind of like a part of the beast, you know. Whether it's
No, I agree. No,
yeah.
I agree. Yeah, that was the one thing people were trying to take away from it, but like that's not the issue. That
Right.
it's 25K. The issue is the communication, and that's the real problem. Marketing is going to be dumb expensive, and you just have to suck it up because that's the way it is.
Yeah. And I guess my other point was that just the fact that PlayStation apparently controls when your games go on sale, that is really shitty, man. And I went to the PS Store to kind of like, I wanted to see it, man. And it's like, yeah, like PlayStation does, you know, their PlayStation Indies sort of things, and they do like their flash sales and days of play and whatnot. But like a game like The Pathless, for instance, that came out in November on the launch of the console, it's still full price right now. And I'm like, and surely those devs would have wanted that game to be on sale, you know, 5 months after the release of their game, right? So yeah, I guess that's, to me, that's really shitty, right? Like, the devs should absolutely have full autonomy in terms of like deciding when their games get to go on sale. Am I out of, like, is that too much to ask for, or is that what you're kind of thinking as well, Macho?
Yeah, no, I'm in agreement with you. Yeah, I feel like it's like very like stranglehold, you know, as but at the same time, I think what they're trying to do is quality control, which makes sense considering there's stuff like, you know, I think it was what, Black Tiger that was released on there.
Sure.
Yeah, right. And then Cyberpunk, which was like released to like a horrible state. So I think the entire point of that was for quality control. But even then, it's like, yeah,
My thing is that, like,
it's too much.
is that, like, apparently they've been doing this forever, right? That they've been this sort of like archaic, very stubborn sort of like in how they've handled, you know, their indies for years, right? Like, this hasn't just been happening, you know, this year, right? Apparently they've always sort of been like this. So
Yeah, they just have archaic methods and processes of like how to do this,
yeah.
and again, a couple of indie developers are saying this, and I think it's a point where I really hope they take it to heart and take all the criticism, because Shuhei, my man, Shuhei Yoshida, bro, that's come on, let's fix it up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's so weird because, like, I follow a couple of those guys on the indie team, and it's just like these guys are doing this, man. Like it just doesn't even make sense. It's so weird, but yeah.
Yeah, Walt, what do you think about it, man?
At first, I only thought it was a matter of communication, but it goes deeper than that. You know, they're not. This doesn't sound healthy in business, in a business sense, or in a more personal sense, where they can actually have people working with them and feel like they have creative and business freedom. What's getting to me like is that whole sale thing because it makes me think what else do they have control over that is just they can't talk about or something that is just beyond their reach and they just have to suck it up if they want to work with PlayStation. Like what merits, well, money. What merits them sucking it up and just rolling with the
That's
punches with
that's
PlayStation?
that's capitalism, baby. That's why.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like they just have to stick with it. They can't really do anything, and that sucks. I feel like that's my biggest thing is the human factor of it is that you have these employees that probably they're like we can do better. We can. I know we can do better, but we can't do anything. It's out of their hands. They really don't have a say in it, and that's probably the best they'll get in terms of a job currently because right now it's hard as hell already and the industry to get like a job that you actually feel fulfilled in from what I've seen on Twitter and people talking about when it comes to the games industry. So is PlayStation slash Sony like is this just flat on borderline abuse or like in a business sense or like are they abusing their power? I don't know. It makes me think of what other things will they resort to when it comes to just quality games, blockbuster. The whole point of the indies not getting much love because they're focusing more on the hits. Top 20, Kids Bop 40, Kids Bop 41. It's not that indie nice, Kings of Leon track you heard back in 2014. No,
But
it's all about
specifically,
that.
but it's specifically the like it's not like indies like in their totality aren't getting love, right?
No,
It's
of
it's more
course.
it's
No, of
more it's
course.
more of if you're one of those indies that isn't getting special treatment, right? If you're not the Pathless, if you're not Solar Ash, if you're not Kina Bridge of Spirits, if you're not Sifu, etc., if you're not Chicory, then yeah, it is hard for you to sort of get traction on that platform, which
And
is
yeah, and I get it, but and here's the thing: if you're not those people, it makes sense because they're standing out. People are they're loving what they see from these upcoming games. What the Pathless was, what Kina is looking to be, and Solar Ash. If you're not one of those, yeah, it's like you said, capitalism. If it's not a hit, if it doesn't make sense business wise for them, I guess you're just not worth the extra effort, I guess. And that sucks. For me, it just sucks and how the people must feel. But in the end of it, you'll hear the same, it's business as usual, and that sucks. This is why when I hear an indie doing their own thing, like literally their own thing, like with a Hollow Knight or just doing their own, it's admirable because it's a passion project. But then when you're acquired into a much bigger family, which is why a lot of the people might be doubting the acquisitions that have happened, I'm not. I'm happy for them to. And here's the thing. Now I'm like back and forth because these are big studios that have been acquired. Now I'm more worried about the smaller ones, which should have the more love on them, which should be given more nurturing, but they're not. It feels odd. I feel strange thinking about how these people might be feeling and how helpless they might be feeling if you're not, and how there is social comparisons. I bet you have people like feeling like they're not good enough because they're not this X or Y or Z company or game. That sucks.
Yeah,
It
it's
sucks.
it's it's super weird too, just to like see this come out because they legit just had like an indie sale where like over 1,000. I think it was like over 1,000 indie games were on sale,
Yeah,
and they even have like their own tab and everything for like indie games if you want to go find them in the store. It's
yeah.
not exactly hard to
PlayStation
find.
Indies, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like there's always more sides to this story, but I think the takeaway from it is
Always.
that there's select few of indie developers, probably just a handful of indie developers, are very frustrated with PlayStation and how they do things, and it is probably really archaic. But at the same time, they're severely understaffed. Maybe they just don't have any initiatives to be planned, and then that's where you have to go to the top. And at this point, it's Shuhei Yoshida, isn't it? Isn't he like the indie developer pioneer?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's more or less, what how their process is and how they want to do it and whether they have enough manpower, enough budget to even like go with like certain upgrades, right? Because they just have we've been hearing all year how they've been focusing on big budget initiatives rather than just the smaller stuff, and all this kind of ties into each other and it makes sense,
How do you
whether it's right or not, but
how do
so
you feel about the PlayStation Store in general? Like, because there was, I always had like once this story broke, I had this sort of like epiphany. I was going through the PlayStation Store the other day, and like it makes sense why they prioritize the games like FIFA and Call of Duty and Far Cry. Right, those are the games that you see right there on the front page. But there's a part of me that wishes, like, man, like these games don't need, you know, that advertisement, or they don't need to be right front and center. Like everyone knows those games, man. Like there's a part of me that, and this will never happen just because, there's obviously there's marketing deals, right? Like Call of Duty and Red Dead or whatever. Like they, PlayStation and them go hand in hand, so it's obviously obvious why they have to be on the front page. But there's a part of me that is like, okay, why can't, like Chicory be right there on the front page, the first thing that you see when you open up the store? Or that game, that Disco Elysium. Why can't that be on there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's a part of me that kind of noticed that just the other day and was kind of like saddened by that, because like, that would definitely help out these guys for sure.
I think it's because when you think of PlayStation, you don't really think of those games.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's not at least not right now. For casual people, it's not tied to the identity of PlayStation.
yeah,
And what you put on the front of your store, what you put on display, what you put for window shoppers is what you're speaking to your own identity. And I think, and of course, part of the identity is marketing,
yeah, definitely.
unfortunately. So I think that that's just kind of like the big part of it. But yeah, I agree. I think it'll benefit something like the Pathless or even Chicory or whatever indies are coming over, or Hades, another one, to put on like on your front
Mm-hmm.
page and associate with like this is what we want to people to think of when they think of PlayStation. Like the
Yeah,
same thing with Bugsnax.
yeah, yeah.
So
Um,
but yeah, I think it's a multi-layered problem and issue, and indie devs are always going to lean towards a console that's that's has the most engagement, and um, unfortunately for PlayStation, the console, at least not the console, but like the item that has the most engagement at this moment in terms of um, uh, like mind share and what people are talking about is Game Pass.
yeah,
Yep.
Game Pass is the service where you have little to no barrier. People could just put it in, and you're throwing your game to the wolves because you're putting it with like all these other games, but at least you have a chance of getting seen and getting noticed and picking up steam. Um, where PlayStation is kind of like pick and choose.
yeah,
One quick
yeah,
second, guys. Can you give me like 2 minutes? 2 quick minutes.
yeah.
Yep. Dude.
So yeah, man. I guess just general consensus is that like we want to see them do better and to improve in this area, man. The communication needs to improve because like these are, even though they aren't the big sellers and stuff like that. Like these guys can be sort of like the next, big thing. They can be the next Rocket League or the next, like No Man's Sky or the next, et cetera, right? So like you got to do right by them, man. Simple as that.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
and then kind of the last thing I'll say about this before I guess we end the podcast is that like it's bad when like this is what really got me was that like this situation is bad when the developer who started this says that it's gotten to a point where he doesn't care that he's burning bridges with Sony, right?
Yep.
That to me was like when I read, I think that was like the last sentence that like that was how he ended the first post in his thread. And once I read that, I was like good God, man, yeah, that for it has to be bad if he doesn't even care about burning his relationship with Sony. That speaks volumes.
Yeah, and the right thing to do in this case would be not to cut that developer off. It wouldn't be to blacklist them, right? Because publishers have a knack of doing that for people that kind of speak out against their policies.
Yeah.
It would be to open that communication.
Do you think
Send them that DM.
Do you think Sony will will kind of torch that bridge? Because we know how Sony is. They kind of ruthless.
Yeah, that they are. But the thing is, I think it's really on how Shu feels, man. He needs to open up that communication. He needs to take all his stuff to heart and care, because at this point, and we've been having inklings of this throughout the entire year. They just seem like they didn't care.
Yeah.
So this is more or less confirmation of that.
I'm sure like Shu cares, man, but like
Oh yeah, I have no doubt that he does, but like, you have to do better.
yeah, definitely.
That's not even like an argument, So I really sincerely hope that they actually open the communication with Ian Garner, I believe his name is, that Voice is concerned, and really, move forward from here. Because in order to go up, you have to move forward, and right now it's not looking like they're doing that.
Yeah. And then to the Sony fans who were sort of like saying like, oh well, maybe you should make a better game and then it'll sell better on PlayStation, or all these defense tactics that they bring up whenever Sony gets criticized. I'm like,
What a shitty thing to say.
I'm like, y'all are fucked in the head, man. Like,
Y'all make the game.
like,
Y'all make the game then.
like,
Golly.
and I saw the dude. He commented. He was like, how's that Sony boot or Sony boot taste like? Like,
Seriously.
I'm like,
Dude,
yeah,
yeah,
man.
can you imagine if you're trying to sell your book to a publisher and then some random asshole readers like make a better book if you can't find a publisher?
Yeah, I would be. I mean, I guess there's a part of me that would understand, but like, I would be pissed if my book was put in like, I don't know, all the way in the far corner on the bottom shelf, or even behind, like a row of books, right? So no one can see, and I guess that's pretty much how this guy feels. So like, yeah, I can
Dude.
I sympathize with that for sure.
It's moments like these that the saying of critics are just failed artists that rings so true. Because these people, they just, if y'all got nothing good going for you, why the hell are you talking shit?
I kind of love that.
Don't crap on someone else's fucking soup. Like, Jesus Christ, what is this? Like, honestly, like, put in the work, and then you can talk shit. And even then, be humble. Because people that put in the work, they stay humble because they know the grind. Clown, you fucking clown.
Yeah.
God.
Jay can tell you firsthand of how not excruciating, but like how stressful it is to even write a narrative.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
it is
dude.
it is a
I've
excruciating.
seen the whole process.
It is
Dude, I've been there since the stories were like, all right, I got my layout already. And he had all these blocks, and it was like just him putting the points. And that was like a year or two ago. And then like he kept updating. I'm like, the process, the grind is real. Like
Yeah.
it takes
is.
a while. And then you get
is.
those blocks, those writer's blocks, and then you're like frustrated, and then you get back into it. You can't stop because you have that motivation, that inspiration for a moment. Like Try writing a book. Try it. Yeah, try it. Who was it? Tell me your name.
Dude, I have like 2 journals filled out of just like a whole story layout, and I just haven't got it because it's so tough just sitting down.
It is. It is like I've met like the writers I know, like including Jay. Like it's but when you have this much passion, it's hard. But you enjoy the process. You enjoy like going through that because the end result is that much more fulfilling. Like, hey, like props to these people. Even if by some people's standards they don't make a quote unquote good game, they're putting in the work. They're passionate. They're putting it out there. They're trying. Like props just for trying. Like golly, is it good? Is it bad? Who are you to deem that? God, did you pay the money? I don't care. You still don't get to talk shit to people. Be a human being.
Yep. But Jay, I swear to God, man, if your protagonist is named Farrell and he's part of the Ditcher clan and he's a monster hunter, I'm gonna be on your ass, alright? I'm gonna be on your ass.
Oh God.
I gotta change some things around, man.
You have
if he has an adopted daughter named Fury or something, I'm gonna be on your ass, right?
Fury? I thought you were gonna say Fury with a Z. But with a Z. Just a Z.
I'm gonna have to go back to the drawing board real quick, man. Oh man.
Oh no.
I guess that pretty much wraps up the podcast, man. Is there anything we missed in terms of topics? I think we covered it all, right?
Yeah,
wait.
that's all I want to talk about.
I got something else for all them critics.
Damn, that shit is a true pack of ass.
Jesus.
Your opinions. That's what y'all opinions are. God.
Thank you.
The way to drive it home.
Yeah, I'm glad we can bust that out at least once every podcast. We need to do that at least once. So I'm glad.
And the fart. That'll always be a thing, I guess.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. We're gonna get started with these outros, man. Also, man, it took me like this Nemesis fight right here, man. It took me so much longer my first playthrough because I was an idiot, man. I didn't know what to do, but this one took me like 5 minutes, man. That's the beauty, man. That's the beauty of Resident Evil.
I'm so happy to see you actually enjoying that, man.
Yeah, man.
Resident Evil 3 is a good game. People like to throw that in the trash, but
why do people slander RE3?
Because of the length. I hear the length argument so much of how it's a short game and it's not. Listen, man.
Yeah, generally Resident Evil 3 is a shorter game, and in the remake they actually took out a whole level.
But is it like every I mean, with the exception of 4, because I remember 4 being pretty long, and 5 as well.
And 2 remake is also is somewhat long, a little bit.
Oh,
I mean, if you do both playthroughs, because there's 2 playthroughs.
Okay, because that's what I was gonna ask. Is that aren't these games generally like pretty short?
Yeah.
Usually they are. Usually Resident Evil is big on replayability because there's you actually get more of the game than the second playthrough or the third playthrough, and you keep getting all these add-ons. And if you beat the game only taking so many steps, you get the RPG with infinite ammo and shit like that. That's the fun of Resident Evil.
But RE3 too is a lot more action focused too, which
RE2
turns off a lot of people. RE3.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, RE3 does. Yeah, the theme is very different from 2 remake to 3. My big thing has always been the way that was handled in the beginning, because I always hear that originally it was more of a 2.5 than a 3. I never played 3 though, but the kind of game it is, honestly, that's much. Listen, guys, I'm sometimes I act like Twitter. Sometimes I overreact. The game, I was gonna buy it eventually, no matter the price. It just so happens that it's always on sale. So hey, who am I to complain? The game, fantastic. Now, don't play 6. Play 6 if you love Michael. If you love Michael Bay, play 6. That's it. That's the only reason you'll play 6. The rest you can play.
Does Jill return in the franchise? Does she ever come back?
In 5. Just in 5.
Oh, she's in 5?
No, she returns in 5 and then Revelations.
Yeah, Revelations you play as her, but in 5 she's just a character that is part of the story.
Weird. I don't actually. I mean, then again, I haven't played that game since like 2009, but that's weird. I actually
Yeah,
don't remember her.
it's not the Joe you remember. Spoiler alert, I guess, for people that haven't played 5, but she was controlled by something that they put on her chest. It was like a spider kind of thing. Like I think it was Wesker. She was blonde back then because she like mutated and she gained these extra abilities. Because I think Revelations is where she disappears, quote unquote, and then turns bad. And in Revelations, you fight her and have to snap her out of it. And right after that is when you fight Wesker, like a few missions later,
Interesting.
which is pretty badass, you know.
Yeah, because I was asking, man, because hey, man, Jill,
Hey,
she might be a big reason why I like this game, man. Let me. I'm just saying.
hey.
I'm just saying. I'm not gonna hold you.
Then you'll
but-
love remake. You'll love remake because Claire. I don't know, man. Claire's
Jill's
also
man.
Claire's
Claire's,
also
Claire's
goat, man.
awesome, but Jill's the goat, man. That's what I'm
Nah,
saying.
Jill-
I think you'll like Resident Evil Remake. That's on PS4. It's like of the classic game. Because it plays Chris and Jill. It's like her playthrough or her like care campaign was my favorite.
Rubbing my hands over here.
Gotcha.
And also, the Jill campaign, I think it's easier mode because you have more inventory space or something like that.
I think so.
I don't.
I have to replay it.
yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah, but yeah.
Cool. But yeah, man, that's gonna do it for the podcast. Want to remind you guys to like and subscribe to the channel, man. We would greatly appreciate that. It helps us out a ton. Well, you got anything going on this week?
Oh man, I got 2 quizzes and a paper already due next week, and more reading, and you know it's all about that college life. Gonna start this is my senior year of college for my undergrad, and gonna try to start it strong. Yeah, man. In the video game world, I've been really off of Twitter. I haven't really. A lot of the information today was new. I found out during the podcast. I'm not gonna reveal which information. But yeah, man. What do I have planned? I not even I know. I don't even know this time around.
Oh my gosh, Walls.
The future is uncertain because this week actually fucked up my schedule. I was like, oh, it's 2 classes. Oh wait, it's 1 month long. Oh, they're overtime classes. It's like a lot. Okay, well, I'm in this hell right now. But yeah,
I'm in this.
yeah, I'll probably just be playing more Returnal, more Demon Souls. Try to finish Ratchet and Clank because I haven't finished it. I'm almost near the end, I think. But yeah, I'll keep dying in Returnal because I've been playing it during the podcast, and man, this is a good time kill. This I feel like this game will turn into comfort food game where
Oh, yeah.
I'll get so good at it that it'll be on the background while I listen to a podcast or
I
whatever.
mean, yeah, like
Yeah.
I was I forget which biome it was specifically, but I remember like because my workstation is like right next to my TV, and I was like during my shift, I was just like I put the volume all the way down on Returnal, and just like while I was working, just like just trying to
Yes, sir.
kind of chisel my way through that game or chip my way through.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah,
yeah.
it was a great experience.
Yeah, but although I'll take this chance to give him some love. Although I haven't been as active as I would have liked on level 1, y'all go check it out. They were pumping them articles for the last few weeks pretty tightly. They're killing it. The grind is real. Go check it out. They did an interview a couple weeks ago with the lead voice actors or lead performer in Redfall, the upcoming Xbox exclusive. Go check that out. But yeah, Twitter handle down in the description below. And like and subscribe and turn that notification on.
Macho, what about you, man?
I'm just gonna try and see if I get through, not get through, but just play through 597 Remake. Playing that on PS5, and I'm in love with this game, man. It's absolutely like one of my favorite games of all time. Just absolutely, just the experience itself, and just kind of just seeing everything in its full glory on 60 frames per second, and on PS5, it's man, preaching the good word. 597 Remake, man. You guys gotta play that game if you haven't yet. Definitely go check that out. Also, big congratulations to CEO of LordsGaming.net and iLearn's podcast, Lord Cognito.
Yeah.
Mentor and mentor teacher, great friend. He has joined the cast of the Defining Duke podcast with Mr. Matty Plays, which all that's under the Last Stand Media, which is run by Con Moriarty. And man, big congratulations! That's a huge step. So I just wanted to say that to him.
Definitely.
Yes, sir.
And
and
yeah,
then,
we gotta move on before anything else happens. Yeah. So as for me, man, probably going to get into Resident Evil 2 remake. I might even try to like dedicate myself because there's like a couple things I want to do with RE3 before I actually go back to 2 or go into 2.
Platinum it.
Man, I was looking at some of those trophies. I was like, I don't want to do it.
Do that Inferno mode. Man.
Nah, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely probably a lot of Resident Evil. Yeah, man, I'm a fan, man. I'm really enjoying my time with it. But yeah, that's gonna do it for us, man. Once again, want to remind you guys, like the podcast and subscribe. And if you guys don't do that, y'all losing your kneecaps. We coming for those kneecaps, man. So
Yes, sir.
simple as that.
and your mom's a hoe.
And curb stomp you.
No, not that violent, man. Nah, we ain't doing that.
Oh, this man went American X on X.
Yeah, man. We sophisticated here, man. We got
Just the
standards.
kneecaps.
Just the kneecaps, man. That's
Come
it.
on,
That's
man.
it. That's
Just
it.
the kneecaps.
Just,
We
just
put
the
in-
mom
We'll start
jokes and
there.
then the kneecaps.
Yeah, we putting you in a wheelchair and we making fun of your mom, but that's it. That's it. We ain't going any. There's no need to go further than that, man. Come on. What are we, savages? Come on, man. We not like that.
What are we?
But yeah, man, that's gonna do it for us. We'll see you guys next week. Peace out.